Hello guys, it is your wizard time to have another here, and welcome back to another video on the DCA Gaming channel. And we are on, whoopsie, just fell off, what we built in the last episode, which was the beginning of a prison. And I know we didn't really get a lot done that last episode, and I'm hoping to get much more done this episode, so don't be too worried about that. Yeah, so guys, while it's creative, we've got the experience of being able to just completely do a whole load of other stuff which we wouldn't be able to do if it wasn't creative. So we've got another about 3 days of creative. I don't know what that sound was, sorry. We've got another couple of days of creative, a few days of creative, so yeah, that's good. We can probably finish quite a lot of this town before survival comes back to Minetown. So, and by the way, in the last episode there wasn't this bridge up to there, so that's pretty cool. So we've there's already been more work done, which is really good. And I thought I'd just add a little bit to that. So yeah, that looks, yeah, a little bit longer, and we'll probably build something up there eventually. So for the beginning of this, I think I'm just going to extend this around there, and we'll just get started to doing that. So I think for now I could probably just do that, and it's up to that height, I believe. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, I think that's right. So yeah, so I've been trying to make my videos better quality, so I hope that's been working. And let me know down in the comments what you think, and whether you think has been an effective. I have been effective in doing that. And I think it's in my opinion it's been pretty. The videos have been pretty good, if I do say so myself. But you know, there's definitely room for improvement. I'm not saying it's perfect at all. In any stretch of my imagination, there is definitely not perfect. So there's lots to be done, and I think and I definitely recognise that. So you can let me know down in the comments what you think I could do to make my videos better. But yeah, guys, I'm just gonna completely finish this wall. And I think while I'll do a bit of it on camera, some of it off camera, and doing clips, so it's not all going to be me building a wall, so we're going to be able to get some more stuff done as well. But it's just, I just think it's quite nice to chat as well, so like we get to talk about some different stuff on the channel during the videos as well. So sort of suggest stuff in the comments what you want me to discuss, because you know I know I've been talking about some very political stuff, and I am a pretty political person. I mean, if you ask any one of my friends, they will know that I'm not politically correct, and I never intend to be, and I have been trying to be politically. I have my own political mind. Sorry, my brain went a little blank there. But yeah, so it's been I've been trying to bring that my character out in my videos, and I think I've been reasonably successful in doing that, so that's pretty good. Oh, whoopsie, wrong one. So I think that does look pretty good for a fence, like for a wall, but it is quite bland. But it is kind of meant to be bland, like walls from prisons and for military bases aren't really meant to be looking really nice. So I think it looks pretty good so far. Yeah. So guys, in the last video I've been there was lots of a lot of very important discussion about feminism and about masculism and about stuff like that, because I think it'd be interesting. I thought it'd be interesting to see what you guys thought. I haven't actually got very many I haven't really got any comments about that yet, because obviously I am a very small channel. There are very few. I very rarely get comments, and it's very nice when I do. So feel free do feel free to let me know down in the comments, and let us know, because obviously it's not just me on the channel. There are a whole lot of other guys on the channel as well, and that is Pink Princess 59. Pinky Princess, who's also known as Pinky Unicorn, and like has a whole lot of different usernames which she uses, but she's basically the Pinky girl, let's call her. But yeah, she comes on quite a lot, and that's quite nice. She's actually my sister, so that's, yeah. She's my younger sister, and it's very happy to have her on the realm. Yeah, she's been doing pretty good work on her. She's part of the BJ, so we obviously have been in a little bit of a war, but apart from that, we've been getting on pretty well. So yeah, she's probably working on my house in the BJ Kingdom, which I have in fact actually seen. It is pretty good. It's pretty nice actually. So I've seen her house in the BJ Kingdom, and it's doing pretty nicely. I think it's a pretty nice building. It's very big, and I think it's definitely an achievement that they managed to build it. But I think I'm just trying to think of how I'm going to make this wall. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a very strong believer in like just being able to share your opinions, being able to discuss things which need to be discussed. And I think that in my opinion, feminism and masculism are definitely something which needs to be discussed, and so is pacifism. So we talked quite a bit about that in the last. I think I can probably do from there. Like that. So I'm planning on just discussing much more political stuff with you about that, and I think it's quite an important thing, because I think there's like stuff which like is just generally like people need to stop getting offended about and just realise the truth, and just stop trying to make stuff up. Because there are I'm not saying women are sexist against men, but I think it's very difficult living your life being invaded by people who are saying that you are being sexist against them, when actually you're just living your life and you are doing nothing of that kind. And it is quite an important thing to note, because like feminism movement is just not relevant anymore, and it hasn't been relevant for a very, very long time. And I think it was originally relevant, I'm not gonna deny that, but it hasn't been relevant for quite some time. And I think it's now they're making it so that men aren't really allowed as many rights. They're sort of saying that there's a pay gap, when there hasn't been a pay gap for a very many amount of years, because the pay gap is actually illegal now. It's illegal for women to get paid less than men, and as of the Equal Pay Act, which I've forgotten which year it was, but at some point in the 1970s, I believe, maybe earlier. But yeah, since then, it's been illegal to pay different to pay like different amounts for the same job, if they're men or women. But it's and the thing is, people brush over things like that. They say, oh, the pay gap is definitely an evident thing, but you can see it in the thing, and like women are getting paid less. That is true. Women get paid less. They earn less money. But why is that? It's because they do great things like having children. I have nothing against having children. I think it's a great thing to do, because otherwise, obviously, we will have no population in the world. But I think looking after children is important. We shouldn't then blame it on men for getting paid more, but actually a lot of the time the men are actually working longer hours, because they're maybe providing for their children when their parents are looking after their children, or maybe often men just work longer hours, which is completely fine to do, but it's also completely fine. You don't have to work hours and hours and hours of a day if you have enough money to avoid it. and often women do that because they can, and they don't worry so much about maybe they just don't do that so much, and that's completely fine. But it's just we shouldn't then say that because they're getting paid less, even though they're doing like generally less hours, or doing generally take more leave because of children and things like that, then we can't then say that it's unfair that they are getting paid less when actually they're getting exactly the same amount as they would be if the men did exactly the same thing. And obviously men can't have children, so we can't prove it, but I think the things like that are just not important things to discuss. I think I find it quite funny when people try and I mean, it's important to discuss that, but sorry, I mean, it's not important to it's not important anymore, because like the pay gap, because it isn't relevant, and it hasn't. I mean, it's important to discuss it and talk about it, because there are people who disagree, and it's important to have debate like that. Otherwise, politics would not be where it is today. But I'm not allowed to tell Pinky Princess where I am, by the way, because I'm actually in a secret release area, and I don't want her to know where that is. I think I'll just cut across, maybe. Still want it to be a bit more circular than just straight lines. It's just foolishness to try and debate them, to try and prove the fact that something that cannot be proved and never will be proved, because it's not true, and it never will be true. If something isn't true, it will never be true. Well, unless it's something which could eventually be true, which then I kind of contradict with myself, but you know what I mean. Anyway, and I think it's quite important to have this debates like this, because we need discussion, and I think the fact that they're trying to make it that some people can say stuff, but other people can't say that stuff, or people can say what they think, but if it's offensive, then they'll be put in the prison or whatever. It's just not a good idea. It never was, and I don't think it's just going to cause even more problems than the world already has, which it has a lot at the moment. And I think we should deal with the more important issues, because there are things which, like, if say a Muslim or a feminist says something, and it's then they'll be allowed to say that because they are a minority group, and considered a minority group, and considered somebody who's being oppressed, even though generally they aren't. It's just the government's opinion. And if it was, say, a Christian or if it was a Christian or a man or somebody like that, then it would be much less likely to be agreed with, but just because that person's a man. And it's just not right at all, and I think it needs to change the system, which is it's political blackmail, political manipulation of the world agenda, just giving one agenda and making everybody have to stick with that one thing, and it's just not democratic at all, which is part of the reason why the Democratic Citizens Alliance exists, because politics today is just not working. It's not going very well at all for anybody. Since the last clip I've been doing a lot more building and stuff, so I've almost finished now, so that's pretty good. But yeah, another thing is that it's just yes, nice size, and just completely, yeah, I like it. I think it looks really good. If I do say so myself. They're saying things that men are being privileged and things, and it's just not true. It just isn't true anymore. I think obviously women are more vulnerable, but the thing is, with feminists, this is where feminism goes completely back on itself, because feminism says women are just as strong as a lot of feminists say that there's so many different types of feminists can't even agree with each other, because the facts aren't even there, that they just have to make them up, and they all get them right. They get them wrong, obviously, but they get them wrong in different ways, so there's different types of feminists. Anyway, with the feminists, there's sort of one group which is very just, they're just saying that women are just as powerful, if not like more, like just as strong, if not more strong than men, which is not true. You can see that there are more men in the military, there are more men in sports and things like that. There's another group which is saying that women are being victimised by men, and obviously the fact is, if women are so strong, why are they being victimised by men? And why are they, like, why can't they just fight back? The thing is, women aren't as strong. I'm not trying to be sexist at all here. I mean, I think women should be protected completely. I completely agree with this women protection thing. I think men should have it as well, but that's another subject. But I think and men don't have it because feminists are saying it's bad that men should have it and only women should have it, and that's another story, as I said. But it's not men being sexist, it's men being more strong. So if you have a bully, okay, for instance, take a bully, if he's really strong, I'm just thinking what to do next. So he's really strong, and then I'm just going to try and get a DCA flag to go and get. If you have a bully, right, the victim of the bully is going to be in more pain if the bully is more strong. And that's the thing. There are bullies, both women and men. The thing is, men are naturally stronger, which is why women need to be more protected, because they're more easily victimised. And so it's not actually sexism at all. It's the fact is that the men are just generally more strong, so they can oh whoopsie, that's the wrong one. When they bully people, they're more likely to give them a punch than to say a harsh word. And the thing is, although men may be stronger physically, mentally and emotionally, quite often women are much more strong, and that is just generally quite often. I mean, I'm generalising, but generally women are much more emotionally and mentally strong, which is why much more men commit suicide, because and should we say then that that's women's fault for committing suicide? Well, no, it's not women's fault. It's sort of, often it can be because of women, but it's not. Then we'll not blame that on women as a whole, do we? We don't say, oh, men are being. We just say it is some women who are being sexist. It's not the whole group, and that's what a whole load of feminists are doing. They're saying all the men are like this, when actually no, it's completely not true. And the thing is, wait, I'm just going to see if yeah, there we are. That'd be a nice one. There are many men who are killing themselves because they can't take the mental and emotional strain which are being put on them by women, which is not necessarily women's fault. It's not women's fault as a whole at all. It's the fact is that I'll just get some glass instead. That they're just less emotionally strong. So it's why there are much more male murders, but it's a lot more men's suicides, because men just they can't take the emotional and mental strain put on them by things. Some people have actually committed suicide because of they can't take the emotional strain of some things, and it's actually quite it's really bad when men say, oh, don't be ego. I've heard women say, some feminists say, just because your ego's a little bit hurt, ego's a little bit hurt. Fact is, they can't take the emotional strain and they can't take the physical strain, whereas a physical strain, okay, they just die. Mental strain and emotional strain, they just kill themselves, and it happens over and over and over again. And I'm not blaming it on women as a whole. I'm just saying that there's sexism both ways, and I think it's not really generally sexism. It is sexism sometimes, like I said, it is sexism both ways, but sometimes, quite often, it isn't even sexism at all. It's just somebody being cruel, like bullying someone, right? And the person just can't take it and they kill themselves. Or it's a man who goes too far bullying, and with women, they just bully them mentally or emotionally, saying stuff about them, and the men just kill themselves. Whereas the men, they just end up either fighting back, which is why you get even more murderism, and it's just a very flawed idea. And it's just generally, it's just the fact that the fact is that, oh, I already have that anyway, that men are women are just as strong, because they're evidently not. You put any man against the strongest man against the strongest woman, and the strongest man will win. Put the weakest man against the weakest woman, I'm pretty sure the weakest man will probably win. Although, I mean, maybe not, but it's probably likely to. But you know what I mean? It's just over and over again. I think it's quite important that the world realises this. Anyway, I'm going to go and get some more stuff done and I'll be back. So guys, I did since the previous clip, I've done a bit of a tank, and I think it looks pretty decent. So yeah, that's pretty nice. And I've also added a couple of, I think I did that in the last clip actually. Added some flags. And yeah, so this video is looking like it's going to be pretty long, so I'll probably stop it now. I know I didn't really get very much done. I really always get really distracted, but I'm really sorry about that. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, I think I'll continue quickly finish off what I was saying about the feminism thing, because it just really frustrates me, because they sort of think that we are, as men and as boys, are some kind of like horrible race who have caused the world to be this, you know, ruined and stuff. And oh, I just noticed a bit of a flaw right there. Okay. And yeah, I think it's quite difficult, and it's like, yeah, obviously if you give a bully the right, like if a bully has the right strength, they'll do exactly what they want to. And I think the reason why girls often bully boys, like even who are bigger than them, like mentally and emotionally, like with words and stuff, it's because they know, although the boys might be bigger than them and stronger than them, they know they can beat them in every single way, emotionally. And it sometimes, I think that's the problem, because a lot of girls are just, some girls when they're younger are just general bullies, and I think it causes a lot of younger boys to end up becoming bullies, because it's scientifically proven that through statistics that if a boy, if somebody who's bullied is very likely to become a bully when they're older or later on in life. And often girls when they're younger are very bad bullies, which is why a lot of boys get bullied, and then they take that out in a lot of that often that can emotionally and mentally can drive them, like almost to the point of committing suicide. I've known people who it's actually happened to, who they're not killed themselves but got very close to it. And I think it's quite difficult for people to just excuse that, because people say, oh no, it's simple bullying, but for boys it can really get to them, and it can really cause them to seriously consider taking their own lives, I think, quite often. And it's why so many men commit suicide, because it's maybe something which a woman has said to them, or even their wives sometimes, because wives, a lot of women just brush off things which men say, but when they say things like they could just brush off things, but when they don't realise how much of an impact they can have to men. And then men, they can either often kill themselves, or they can end up becoming something really horrible. And yeah, just the whole feminism argument, a load of trash, don't listen to it. And I think I'll stop the video there. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and goodbye.